Whew. Hey guys, so as you can see, this is not a normal video. I'm on my phone recording this right now. So, apologize for the lower quality of this, but I'm not at my house, obviously. I'm at my parents' right now. So, they're closer to the theater I went to, and I just got back from seeing Rise of Skywalker. And overall, I think it was a pretty average movie. Now, before I guess I get into it, I have to say that overall, I think Star Wars as a franchise is actually pretty special. Like at least when it comes to inspiring kids and adults from many generations now, several generations. Going back to the 70s and 80s up to now. And I think this movie is going to hit it for a lot of people, tonally wise, but it's not going to satisfy people that want anything deeper. I wasn't very satisfied by a lot of it, and it's not because the movie was terrible. I mean, some people think J.J. Abrams makes terrible movies. I think he makes okay movies, for the most part. I didn't like Force Awakens, but, it was okay. I was one of the people, apparently in the minority, at least as far as the internet's concerned, to like The Last Jedi more so because they try to do new things. This movie, I mean, to be clear, I'm going to be spoiling a lot of stuff, so don't go further in this video if you don't want any spoilers yet. I'm just going to dive into it. So, first off, the movie was beautifully shot. I like some of the style of the movie. Rey, Finn, Poe, C-3PO, BB-8, Chewie, all of them are basically all together for most of the movie. So instead of it being, split up like it was on The Last Jedi, everyone was together in this one, which I did kind of like the dynamic of. C-3PO is pretty funny, some of the things he said. Now, other than that, I felt like the movie felt a bit rushed. I felt like I could almost see J.J. Abrams, or, he was the one directing it. I can almost see it be like, okay, now we're going to this scene. Okay, now we're going to this scene. Okay, now we're going to this scene. Like, the movie felt a bit rushed to me. I felt like this movie, it's a movie to end 3 generations of movies, It's meant to end the Skywalker saga, from the prequels to the original films up to these ones. And I felt like they didn't do a very good job at developing a lot of things. It felt very rushed. And honestly, a lot of the story beats came out in leaks. Like, Disney, what the heck? Like, Marvel did so good at hiding Infinity War spoilers. They did so good at that. And, Rise of Skywalker leaked like a sieve, like a leaky boat for months and months. A couple things that ended up being real. Photos got leaked. The photos are real. So the one with Kylo standing next to Rey with blue lightsabers, yeah, that was real. Rey being Palpatine's granddaughter, confirmed. And other than that, I mean, those are the 2 main things that really happened in it. Palpatine's in it. Anna McDermott did a great job at being evil emperor again, but again, I felt like it was a really weird idea to bring him back. And even like the beginning crawl of the movie, it's like suddenly a broadcast popped up, with the emperor claiming to be back. So Kylo Ren went looking for him in the beginning of the movie. That's what Kylo Ren does. He's on some featureless world, killing random dudes, grabs this device, flies 5 minutes into the movie to this, evil-looking planet, runs into Palpatine, and basically kind of becomes Palpatine's apprentice a little bit. He didn't end up really being on Palpatine's side, but that's what it felt like. And so from there, we have Rey and her pals. they're looking for a device to find where Palpatine is, because they know immediately at the beginning, like, there's this huge dump of information from Poe to, like, the rebels that he's like, Palpatine's back, he's got a fleet, and we need to go stop him. And so, the objective is known from the very beginning to everybody. It's not a big reveal Palpatine's back. It's in the crawl, like, they didn't even try to make that a surprise, by announcing it ahead of time. I think it would have worked better had there been no explanation, had there been no spoiler about Palpatine being in this movie. I would have loved this movie to have been radio silent. They gave away too much of it before it even came out, and I feel like that was a desperation move to drum up support for the movie. It was kind of like, we put Palpatine in the movie, please come see it. We know you guys hated Last Jedi, sorry. And then the movie did its best. They kind of distanced itself from Last Jedi in some ways. Turns out Snoke was apparently some kind of cloned puppet of the Emperor. They didn't really explain that very well, but there was this weird vat or something with what looked like failed versions of Snoke in it. So the Emperor made Snoke because reasons, and he apparently had a giant army of Star Destroyers on this world, each with a Death Star caliber laser rifle on the bottom of it to attack planets with. One of the Star Destroyers goes to a planet and just one-shots it with the laser. It's well, I guess you over-budgeted with the Death Star, because that one laser was good enough to wipe out an entire world. Star Destroyers can do it now. And so, one thing that actually hit me pretty hard, emotionally actually though, was regarding Chewbacca, actually. So Leia is in the movie, but then she passes away in the movie. Obviously, because she passed away in real life. Carrie Fisher did, Leia's actress. And when they come back to the home base to talk to Leia, about 3/4 of the movie before they go on their final assault. And when Chewbacca is told the news, he just falls to his knees and basically starts crying. And man, it hit me because Chewie has lost everyone. Han, Luke, Leia, Lando Calrissian is the only one that he kind of knows still. I guess since C-3PO and R2-D2, but as for actual people he was around, they're all gone. So I felt really bad for him. And I've never felt that bad for a Star Wars character, but felt pretty bad for him. A couple other things in this movie. Just trying to think of what else is here. So Rey, she gets told by Kylo that she is Palpatine's granddaughter, and it's kind of her afraid of becoming evil now that she knows she's the Emperor himself's granddaughter. And at one point she accidentally uses Force lightning and brings in a transport that she was holding with the Force because it had Chewie on board from being captured. And she accidentally uses Force lightning on it and blows it up. So she thinks she killed Chewie for a little bit. Turns out it was a different transport. There was 2 of them, and I knew that. So I knew they weren't just going to kill Chewie like that. But it showed her using Force lightning, and so she didn't mean to. But that was kind of a hint that she had some dark in her, of course. And so there was that. And then so they get to this planet that was this ancient Sith planet. And by the end, Rey does. And I'll try to go back a little bit. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not trying not to ramble, but I won't have an ability to edit this or put it together, since this is just kind of my thoughts right after on a phone. So Rey finds this device that lets her navigate to where this Sith planet is, but when she gets it, Rey follows her, and they fight. They both sense Leia passing away. It distracts Kylo. He drops his lightsaber. Rey grabs it while he was dueling her. and stabs him through the midriff, and so he falls down. So earlier in the movie, she had used her Force ability to heal someone with it, or not someone, something. It was a monster early on in the movie. She heals this monster with her Force ability, and and she uses that same ability to heal Kylo. Then she leaves Kylo on the ruins of the Death Star, which, you also see in the trailers. They were fighting there. And that's where she found this device. And they got this dagger from that desert planet in the trailers. This Sith dagger had inscription on it that showed where this was. And it had a little piece of the dagger that came out, like a little, it was like a little key, basically, that when it lined up on the Death Star, it showed where this device was, that you can get to the Sith world. And I was like, here we go. Like, that Death Star crashed on that world and apparently lined up perfectly for this device to be lined up with. I mean, that was just kind of goofy to me in a very Star Wars way. And so she heals him, leaves him there. He ends up having a discussion with Han. Han shows up, but like it was like a memory of Han, like his regret of Han. And then he throws his lightsaber out into the ocean, and from that point on, you can consider Kylo reconciled back to the light. So last bit of the movie, Rey goes to the Sith world, lands on it, walks into this room with lots of lightning and stuff, kind of like what we saw from the trailer, where there's this hooded figure she's looking at that is in fact the Emperor. Some weird life support claw thing that comes up and down. And there is thousands of these hooded figures up in these Colosseum-like stands all around them. And they're all chanting and stuff. And it was a really haunting, kind of cool moment. But what are those? They're not Sith. Are they acolytes of the dark side? Like, it never, ever kind of showed what they were. So, Palpatine's like, you are my granddaughter, and I wanted to bring you here, and if you strike me down, you will become the new Empress and rise to take over the galaxy. Mwahaha, please do it. And Rey's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not of the dark side. Kylo gets there with a TIE fighter. Shows up. Oh, one other thing, too. Rey, at this point, has two lightsabers, Luke's and apparently Leia's. Leia had been trained to be a Jedi, but then there was a, and this was told by Luke's Force Ghost to Rey, that she had been trained to be a Jedi, but it turns out that she decided not to go through with the final initiation of it, because apparently she saw her son dying if she went that way. So she decided not to be a Jedi after all. So that was kind of interesting. So she has these two lightsabers that she takes with her to go do battle against the Emperor. So Kylo gets there, and the Knights of Ren are in this, by the way, but they don't do anything really throughout most of the movie. They kind of stand around and look cool when they barely show up where they do. They show up at the end in this area, and they start beating the crap out of Kylo, who doesn't have a lightsaber. But then that connection that Kylo and Rey have, where they're like in the same place at the same time, kicks in, and Rey reaches a lightsaber behind her back, and then suddenly Kylo has it and pulls it out, and he does like this little movement, and then he just starts taking down the Knights of Ren, and that was pretty cool. But it was kind of funny how fast the Knights of Ren just got removed from the picture. So then they both they both come forward to confront the Emperor. The Emperor uses his Force abilities to pull them forward with the Force, and blast their lightsabers away. And then he sucks the life force out of them, basically, to restore himself. He notices Rey has that healing ability. So he gets restored, comes off the life support thing, sits down on the throne, and then he just lets rip with a huge amount of Force lightning. It was this really awesome whomp sound effect, and fork lightning just goes shooting up into the sky, and there's a sky battle going on between the Star Destroyers and the Rebels, and and all the rebel ships are getting ripped down out of the sky by this force lightning. It was pretty cool. So the Emperor is being suitably emperorish and evil. He force throws Kylo Ren down a pit, and then Rey wakes back up, starts hearing the voices of all the past Jedi, like Mace Windu, Yoda, Luke. I'm sure Obi-Wan's in there. Like, a lot of different Jedi start talking to her. And so she reignites the lightsaber she has, which I believe is Luke's, or maybe it was Leia's, pulls Luke's to her and says, "I am all of the Jedi." And then does like a cross guard, blocking the Force lightning from attacking her, and basically like force feeds back the lightning like back into Palpatine, Mace Windu style, but this time doesn't let go and just obliterates him. And then she dies. So you're like, oh, well, that sucks. Kylo pulls himself back out of the pit, comes over to her. He uses the healing ability to bring her back. And so they're like looking at each other. She wakes up, is like, "Oh, thank you," like kind of looks at him. And then she kisses him, which I didn't like. I thought they should have, they could have hugged or something. Like, they had the respect for each other and love. Like, I don't know if the kiss didn't seem like it was earned, honestly, between them. But then Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, he laughs and kind of smiles at her, but then he falls over and dies. And then he becomes one with the Force. He disappears. And then Leia's body disappears too. Leia's body has been in state, dead, but still there. And then it disappears into the Force as well. Rey ends up going back to Tatooine, to the old moisture farm of Luke's family. And it's all kind of abandoned and buried. She takes the lightsabers, Luke's and Leia's, and buries them there, kind of in effigy to them. And this old lady comes up like with an animal and is like, "Who are you? There hasn't been someone here for ages." And she looks off to the right and sees the Force ghosts of Leia and Luke, and she kind of smiles and turns back to the lady and says, "My name is Rey Skywalker." Roll credits. Movie's ended. That's it. That's how the movie ends. I don't know how I feel about it. It was a very kind of happy-ish ending and Star Wars, whatever. They wiped out the Emperor, which felt kind of like weird that he was back anyways. Freaking galactic cockroach he is, apparently. And Rey lives happily ever after, doing whatever Rey wants to do. No one in this movie died. Oh no, Hux dies. So Hux, there turned out to be a spy that let them know about all the stuff going on. The spy ended up being General Hux, of all people, who just wanted Kylo to lose. That was his entire motivation. He's like, "I don't care that you win, I just want him to lose," because he ends up helping Finn and Poe escape capture. And Finn shoots him in the leg to make it look good that, they busted out of his custody. Another, First Order leader is talking to Hux and Hux is like, "Oh, they escaped." And this guy's like, "I see." And he just grabs a blaster from the nearest stormtrooper and shoots Hux straight in the chest like the little bitch that he is, and he dies. He died so unceremoniously. Which I think Hux kind of deserved. He was such an idiot character. I did not like that guy at all. So it was unsuspecting for him to be a spy, but also he died in honestly a perfect way for such a little bitch. Anyway, those are kind of the general story beats of the movie. I'm not sure where they go from here, especially if they use Rey. Rey is basically, not only is she the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine, but she is basically kind of like an Avatar: The Last Airbender. She's kind of like a Jedi Avatar, which is why she's such a Mary Sue throughout this entire trilogy. She, that's why she's so good at everything. That's what explains it. She has all of the memories, basically, all the Force ability of all the previous Jedi, apparently. So apparently the Force got tired of Palpatine and the Sith enough that they created an avatar for themselves in Rey to eventually kick his butt with. They're like, even the Force was like, Palpatine, why are you still around, dude? We got to freaking murk you. Anyway, it felt like they brought Palpatine back only because they were desperate, though. It just didn't feel good to me. I mean, Palpatine's a cool villain, don't get me wrong, but it didn't feel right for this movie to me. That being said, I don't know where they should have gone from Last Jedi. I don't. But I felt like they could have done better, honestly. I don't know what that better is, but I felt like they could have done better. I guess one other thing that's kind of funny, you remember the writing animal people, like on the Star Destroyer in the trailer? Well, all those people writing those animals were also other stormtroopers that mutinied from the First Order. So I made a joke to myself. I was like, so all the stormtroopers I could shoot apparently defected. Because Finn and this other, lady and the rest are, taking down stormtroopers left and right. And the stormtroopers, of course, are doing stormtrooper things where they can't kill anyone. The fighting of the Star Destroyers at the end was pretty cool, but there wasn't enough of it for me. I like the space stuff and the space battles and stuff, and there wasn't enough of that for me in this one. Anyway, I can keep rambling on. I probably shouldn't. I'm already at over 20 minutes talking about this, but overall, I thought it was an average movie. Not one I really want to see again. I'll probably read plenty about it to try to research stuff I missed, but it was overall similar to The Force Awakens in terms of like everything is resolved too quickly, in my opinion. They find out, it feels like, and that the Emperor is around in like a couple days, and then a couple days later they get to him, kill him, and celebrate happily ever after. And none of the main cast ever dies or gets in trouble, really. They feel like they're gonna die. Of course Leia dies, but she had to only because of Carrie Fisher dying. I don't know if they plan on having that be the case unless Carrie Fisher hadn't have passed away. Hard to tell. So anyway, overall, I give the movie a 3 out of 5. 6 out of 10. I thought it was an average movie. It was fun. It had some fun moments. Most Star Wars movies do. Will you be disappointed? I don't know. I think plenty of people like a good, generic, happy story, and this ends up being that. So if that's what you like, you like. If you like things a little more complex and middling, I do, because, like, the way Last Jedi, I know people don't like that one, they want that one expunged, but the way Last Jedi went, Kylo seemed like he was kind of going for, like, this weird neutral thing. He wanted to get rid of the Sith and the Jedi. Instead, he ends up basically just becoming a Jedi Force ghost in the end. So he did the classic Skywalker trick of, I fell to the dark side, did horrible things, killed my own father, but I can still ascend and become a Force ghost, because at the end of the day, being a Sith is a lifestyle choice and not actually corrupting to the soul, apparently. It's a nice notion to have redemption always be possible, but, like, I mean, think about it. How many deaths was Darth Vader responsible for? How many endless people did he obliterate from existence? And yet he just gets to ascend basically to heaven because he saved his son in the end. And he apparently didn't even kill the Emperor, so it cheapens what he did at the end. He sacrificed himself for no real reason because the Emperor was still around pulling the strings, apparently. So, can they even be sure they killed the Emperor this time? I don't know. Maybe they'll keep bringing him back until Ian McDermott actually dies. I don't know. I'm sure Dooku would have made an appearance had that actor not died. Like, I mean, at this point, it's just kind of like no one in this franchise dies. Oh, okay, I will give this to them. Phasma didn't show up again. So thankfully Phasma didn't show up. I kept expecting someone like her to show up again. Other than that, again, I'm kind of rambling. I might do a more professional video with a bit more focused thoughts, but these are just my thoughts, 20 minutes after seeing the movie. So anyway, if you have any questions or want to know anything about it, and you're not going to go see it, then you can put something in the comments and I'll reply to you. But otherwise, I hope you have fun seeing it, and thanks for watching this. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Thanks, bye.